to join. Lovely. This is intended to be an open session. There is no structure to it, though I have a list of all the topics. I know Raka and Subhash, thank you for putting your names against the topics you would like to talk about. So we'll definitely, that doesn't mean others can't join in, chip in. Whosoever has attended has, any thoughts, views, please pitch in as we are going through the various topics. I will take some time in talking about the ICF specific updates from the ICF leaders, Magda, Pak, and everyone. I'll spend some time there. Rest, it can be just as and when people are able to think about something that made meaning that they were able to resonate with and are able to share. We will go with an open discussion. Anybody has any thoughts, questions before we get started?
No, we are just eager, that's all.
Lovely. So people who attended, one word description for how the conclave was. Unmute and speak. Let's not type in and...
Can I go ahead?
Yes, please.
Yeah, hi, Ina here. So I'm very new to coaching. It's only 4 months into this coaching journey. So I was very much confused because I had to travel from Bangalore to Delhi only to attend this conclave. So I can tell it was very much knowledgeable. Like I gained a lot of knowledge, and I got to know how are people doing in their real lives as a coaches. It was all I had read in LinkedIn, but got people.
Met them in flesh and blood, and got
person. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, for me, Shanti, it was exciting for the same reason that you got to meet people, new people, and even Bangalore people whom I had not met earlier. I got to meet some of them there and learn a lot from their perspectives, not only from the speakers. It's also interacting and connecting with the participants. So that was really exciting.
So true. So true. Completely agree. So many, peer coaching hours where you've not seen the person in person. So got to meet all of them. Oh, you are this, no, you are that. No, it was fun. What else?
To me, what was what is energizing was recognizing India as a country and that the amount of focus they are putting. And to us, it is important because it will grow our business as they evangelize that. And we are now no longer just a dot on their map. We are a big thing on their map. And to me, that was very good.
Absolutely. And there were lots of evidence that was shared that indicated the importance of India, the importance of coaching in India, and how much they are valuing. And we'll talk about some of those pointers that made it very evident of the growing importance of coaching and India. Lovely.
And secondly, also the very fact that Magda traveled from there and others traveled from all over the world to Grace. To me, the Magda traveling was good because it put us on the map.
It put us on the map. Beautiful. Thank you. And Antaran, your beach buddy has joined. She's also on the beach. On the same.
Where is she? Okay, next page. Okay, let me see. Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Anyone else? Okay, in that case, let's get started. So the first, of course, the opening was by Magda, and she spoke about lots of things, and I'm going to open my notes. A lot of it is going to be reading out of my notes, so people please pitch in. And anybody who wants to kick off Magda's session, any key takeaway from Magda's session, if you want to call out, do so before I get into my notes.
You can start, Shanti. I'll pitch in if you miss any statistics.
Lovely. So I think this is exactly to the point that Ananthanarayan was mentioning. Magda did talk about the board meeting happening in Delhi in February, and the fact that they plan to visit India and the Indian chapters far more often in the upcoming years was very evident. And Magda and several other leadership also being here for the conclave was also a first timer, and it was very well received. They were really chatting and talking through tea breaks and lunch breaks and everywhere, wherever people could find and catch hold of them. They spent time with them, spoke to them, and I too got an opportunity to speak to a couple of the leaders. The key thing about Magda's section was that she spoke about the 6 various paths to ICF Global, which I wasn't aware of, so I will call out. First one is ICF coaching in organization. So there are 6 key strategic themes that ICF is going to follow and pursue. First one being coaching in organizations. The one that I was familiar with, ICF professional coaches, that page that we typically go, how to do my ACC, PCC, that's that page. Coaching education, Thought Leadership Institute, Foundation, and Credential and Standards. The foundation is the philanthropic arm of ICF Global that does programs like our Unicorn and help the people for whom coaching is not very accessible. She spoke about recent studies that ICF Global has been spending time, money, and effort. And some statistics that I captured that really touched me is that 65% globally and 66% in India believe that coaching will grow in the next 12 months. And I said, yes, that's what all of us want. 76% globally and 83% in India believe that coaching will grow in the next 3 to 5 years. India definitely is far more positive in the next 3 to 5 years. Coaches see an increase in the use of delivering coaching using virtual reality 30% and AR 25%. Those were some numbers that really caught my attention in Magda's section. Anybody who has anything to add and share?
I'll go in. See, for some of the recent members, ICF was started in 1995. So, we complete 30 years in 2025. Small trivia. We are 60,000 members strong in 170 countries with 140 chapters and 2,000 coaching education practitioners. They also shared that new One ICF, what Shanti mentioned, also the strategic focus areas, which was just released, I think just the previous day of the conclave globally. The organizational, the empowerment and member focused. It's there on their website, so you can check out. Another piece of data, the Pricewaterhouse study showed in 2020 that there's a 72% increase in awareness about coaching globally. 72% awareness is any marketer's dream, right? It's that kind of a jump in awareness about coaching. The future of coaching, Shanti covered. How that was also discussed. They see an possibility of increase in hourly rates, and I am specifically picking up as a practicing coach and as a trainer. I think we all need to consider increasing rates, also attaining more coaching qualification, and perhaps a couple of additional services being offered. And they gave the example of team coaching or even coach training. And she made a passing reference to a segment, for example, pre-retirement people feel they don't need coaching, but that's a segment that desperately needs coaching, and also career coaching for young people. Last point, I made a note was, how team coaching is gaining a lot of awareness among, the HR fraternity. And perhaps that was segue to the next session, which was by CHRO Nathan. Back to you, Shanti.
Lovely. Subhash, you're an extensive note taker. Kudos to you. So S.V. Nathan's section, anybody wants to summarize what was spoken about? Raka, you'd put your name.
Yeah, I can do that. So everyone must be knowing S.V. Nathan. He's a partner and the chief talent officer at Deloitte, and is also the president of NHRDN. So his session it was almost an hour session, but full of life. He's very passionate and he is a very good storyteller. So he kept us all engrossed in his storytelling, and through that there were a lot of takeaways. So a few of them are here. Like what he said was, if in your day you can pick up one idea or one thing that touches you, that's a day well spent. And so there are so many days where we feel, oh, did we do anything worthwhile? So in those days, he says, just be always open to receiving a good idea. And another thing which he said was that it's not about the things that you do or the events that happen around you, but how you deal with them. That's important. So that's was another takeaway. And in today's time, people want a holistic leader. They don't just want a leader, who's guiding them at work. They want a holistic leader. And millenniums are here to stay. So in a typical workforce today, there are 5 generations which you can see. So coaching becomes challenging when we have to deal with all these different mindsets in an organization. So each generation is a mindset of its own. Then there was another thing which he said was, mill is moving on to skill. So this is typically from in an industry. Earlier, it was just the hard work, the technical aspects that people were looking at, specializing in, and that was being appreciated. But today, that is moving to even acquiring the soft skills along with it. So the technical and the hard work and everything, he puts it as mill. So mill is moving towards skill, and skill is the soft skills he was talking of. So that's where, even when we look at a leader, a holistic leader, so that's where it gets all intertwined. And he used one thing which he said, which is true for leaders and coaches, that we should do these: speak up, seek, and peak. So speak up is speak of the value you create. So gone are those days when others will speak for you. We have to speak up for our own values and market ourselves and put ourselves forward, that this is the value we create. Collaborate. Seek is collaborate. So collaborate with people to move ahead. And peak is the performance. Speak up, seek, and peak. And this, another thing he said, he likes to follow the principle of see the unseen, hear the unheard, act the unacted. That is, come out of your comfort zone and listen to the unsaid. These were the things that I took away from the session.
Yeah. Beautifully summarized, Raka. Thank you. Apart from everything Raka said, what caught my attention was, for every 100 people in the workforce, there is one HR. But for every 20,000 people, there is a coach. So there is so much of opportunity. I said again, good, we are in the right place. Then was Neecha Pandey's section. She's the dean at IIM Lucknow, and
I would like to add one more point. Sorry to interrupt, Shanti.
No, please.
Yeah, I know perhaps something for all of us to reflect resonates deeply with me. He said every coach is a latent Zen master. Yeah, that also was something he said. Back to you.
Thank you. Yeah. And Neecha's section was how to effect of literature on coaching, or how evidences of coaching in literature. Anybody wants to take a shot of what that section looked like?
So she brought about the Shakespeare's writings when she was talking about coaching, and she insisted coaches to read about Shakespeare's writings. Yes, yeah.
Yeah. So definitely she referenced lots of books. Othello was one of them. Siddharth was another. Thomas Hardy. I can't understand my writing. Sophocles. Anigency. Okay, I can't understand what I've written. Gita. Our good old Gita. So lots of, and that too, interpretation by Harivansh Rai Bachchan. That was her recommendation for us to read. The idea was, how coaching, if had existed in those days, the stories would have been very different. For example, Othello, who was a ruler, was not used to listening. Iago was able to arouse jealousy, and then that's how the story proceeds. However, if Othello had a coach, the story would have been very different. Like that, even Siddhartha, who goes to Buddha for enlightenment, and Buddha acts as a coach, and hence things happen to him. So it was references to various stories on how, if coaching had existed, the story could have been different, or because coaching was there, it turned out to be a beautiful story that we should all learn. Just know about. The first ever coaching was done by Lord Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So that was a beautiful reference. Yeah, those were the, nuggets I could catch. Anybody wants to add?
So you captured it well. What I was also looking at is, in fact, she talked a lot about Shakespeare. In fact, that has sent me thinking, and I've already started work on it, to look at Indian context of coaching. Shakespeare is, why I'm saying that is because I find a lot of resonance with my coaches when I talk about the Ramayana or the Mahabharata. In fact, even before Krishna, it was Jambavan, the bear who coached, who helped Hanuman realize his potential in Ramayana. Ramayana preceded the Mahabharata. Okay, so all I'm saying, not saying the quotation were good. In fact, saying can and in India, Devdutt Patnaik manages the congruence very well. So I've started reading a lot of Devdutt Patnaik. Why I'm saying that is it also makes our job easier, because then you are able to resonate relate and relate for the coachee, because then he realizes he's heard it and then he sees the connection. So it was a good thought-provoking session for me, and actually I started me working on it.
We'd love to hear that someday, Ananthan. And what is it that you are uncovering? And yeah, I mean,
So
all
I'm looking at
about the Jaman story, but could not relate it. See, so true.
correct. So let's see. So I'm not promising the moon earth, but I am trying to collect all those anecdotes and trying to put together some some content that will help us as just our own journey.
Lovely. Okay.
But
then-
I was amazed at the amount of work that lady has done on Shakespeare or whatever, and looked at. So that shows deep research skills.
Yeah. Depth of knowledge was absolutely amazing.
And that's why I'm scared, because if I have to put out something to this group, my depth better be good enough.
Oh, good challenge for you.
Yeah.
Next session was ROI of coaching. Jonathan Passmore. Anybody wants to take a stab? I'm hoping people will add. So ROI and RCT, he spoke about those two measuring methodologies. He started with the 5P evolution of coaching. How did coaching evolve? First is peopleization, which is where people start to use tools. Then is purposization, my God, which is Socratic questions and answers. That's where it happened. Professionalization, where training and accreditation was formalized, and there became a structure to how coaching should be done and what good coaching looks like. Productionization, where science and technology started to be a part of the coaching process, and popularization is democratization, where that's the stage we are in now, where we are trying to make it available to as many people as possible. He spoke about the levels of ROI. First one is expert best practice guides, if they are made, case studies, surveys, case control tools. RCT's randomized controlled trial, that was all technical. I did not understand anything. If anybody understood, please share. Cohort studies, systematic reviews, and meta-analysis, data-based analysis. So those are some levels of ROIs he mentioned, spoke about. Shared studies, and there was a small clip also he played around that. Because it was so technical, I don't feel equipped to talk about this. Somebody can pitch in. Subhash is smiling. I'm sure he has something.
No, it was far more technical than you covered a lot. So I don't have anything to add. RCT is something that I made a note to explore deeper. Yeah.
Session.
The only point, I don't know if it was part of that panel or if I'm jumping the gun. Yeah, I think he mentioned, which was just not so high on this thing. He said HR should be part of HR strategy. If coaching is not part of HR strategy, HR does not have a sophisticated plan or strategy. So I don't know if he said that or was the next panel.
Panel discussion, I think.
It was a panel, yeah, sure. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Okay.
So ROI, I don't have much to add because it was technical for me too, but it was very useful, very relevant for all of us to measure ROI, because I think we don't do enough in that space as practitioners.
Very true. Very true.
What set me thinking there was actually when Jonathan Passmore covered that RCT part, the scientific part and all of it. So the question that arose was, is coaching an art or coaching a science? If it's a science, it should be measurable and the RCT technique should be applicable. If it's an art, it's slightly more esoteric. So where is the congruence and how do you make it? How do you get the congruation? And then based on that, how do you develop your own skills around it? That's the way I looked at it. I'm not saying the right way or the wrong way, the way I looked at it.
Any answers you figured out, or it was just an observation?
It's an observation. So I'm not saying I figured out answers. See, again, there has to be a lot more research in the sense of what applies to the US, what applies to Europe. So probably something that we are also now starting to do a lot of research, like we are working with Agastya and all of it. So probably we need to start collating that as research material to look at what is that we see, what is that can be done, and what is being done. It's very generic at this moment.
Very true. Very true. I will pass this on to Gayatri. We've recently been approved some funding for research, and I know she's trying to get her thoughts together. I will pass this on to her and let's see what emerges.
Okay.
There was a panel discussion, Dr. VP Singh, Rahul Sahai. Oh my God,
Muninder from CCL.
Yeah, Anubha and Shweta Handa, of course. It was a very elite panel, lots of lovely discussion. Anybody wants to take this thing to get started of what they observed in the panel discussion? The topic was coaching in organization. This was part 1, day 2 has part 2. Same theme, coaching in organization. So, yeah.
So they mentioned this one statement, a leader needs a coach. So that was very interesting to me.
So the thing was that it's not only for only the senior most or only the poor performers. Coaching is for everyone, and specifically leaders who definitely need coaching was one of the key messages. Lack of coaching competencies leads to phenomena like the Great Resignation. That was a powerful statement that was made. I liked an acronym of KRA. Anybody remembers?
Yeah, we'll ask the group.
Yeah. What is
the clue is it's in Hindi.
Huh.
Let's see if anyone has it. What does KRA stand for in Hindi? And this was shared by Muninder.
Interesting.
who heads CCL, they do a lot of coaching. Yes. क्यों रोया आज? No, it's far more.
क्या रखा है?
क्या रखा है? You're closer.
Very close.
Anand. Yeah. क्यों रखें आपको? Why should we hire you as a coach? So you're saying that context. क्यों रखें आपको? That is KRA. Something for us to think.
There were discussions around what comes in the way of effective coaching, whether it is professional coaches or leaders as coaches. Matbhed and manbhed. Matbhed is a functional conflict, which is good. Why aren't things working? Yeah, which is good. Dysfunctional conflict or manbhed is not effective, where it is not about why aren't things working. It is like, I don't want to work with you. So when it is at a deeper level, the conflict, it is not healthy and not functional. So I like that concept.
Hey, Shanti, just to ask a question, these panelists were essentially folks from the corporate, is it? From representing organizations?
Yes, they were.
Okay.
There was a mentor coach. VP Singh was a mentor coach. Rahul Sahai is Senior Vice President. Varchusa Maninder was India, South Asia and Global Support Center for Creative Leadership. Priya Vasudevan is President, Talent and Enterprise Services, Liberty General Insurance Limited. Anubha Walia is ISTD Chapter, Delhi. Shweta Handa is World's Leading Board CEO and Leadership Team Coach, Treasurer of ICF Global Enterprise Board. So she's been on the board too. Joe Paul, Managing Director, APAC, Randstad. So yeah, it was a mix, Anand.
No, and the reason I'm asking that is, as part of my other responsibility as a COP, I've actually been talking to some L&D leaders to understand their perspective about coaching. And I'm just started the exercise. It's not extensive as yet, but at least 3 of them said there is a need to demystify coaching.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting. So they themselves said there is an absolute need to do this first for our HR and L&D leaders, and then potentially for the businesses as well. So that's why I was curious to know, who are the people, because they're obviously, I think, very mature in that space and are able to really provide a different perspective altogether.
Very true, Anand. I think that is what even future panelists in the conclave also identified, that it is only a handful who are privy to what coaching is, who understand what coaching is. Otherwise, it's keeping the gun on the coach's shoulder and say, please pass on this message and get things done, or different intentions, which since HR is not aware, they are not able to explain that to their teams and audience, and coaches feel stuck. So yeah, that theme also did emerge in the other panel discussion.
And it kind of goes to your 5th P as well, right? This popularization. So we need to figure out, what does it mean? How do we measure it, especially in the Indian context? Perhaps I think globally it's a little better in terms of awareness.
Yeah.
Something for us to think of, I know.
Yeah, good point, because I don't know whether it emerged there. In India, it is seen as elitist. Oh, the CEO is being coached. So that elitist sort of tag has got, and you know what, and someone made that, I think it came in one of the panels, I am not getting coached. Why am I not getting coached?
Yeah.
It's as if he has a grouse saying I'm not good enough, or it is being favored. Someone is playing favorites and asking someone else to be coached. So that elitist tag also is something that we may want to look at.
Absolutely.
That itself is an interesting transition, because initially it used to be remedial. There is something wrong with me, it needs to be fixed, and therefore I'm getting coached. To now what you're saying is, it's this pendulum probably is swung to the other side, that it is truly elitist. And so the people in between are not getting coached. So we have to figure out how to address that. It's an interesting sort of a transition of sorts.
Probably both exist in the organization, has been my observation, where how HR position it. If the HR position it as, reward for the high performers, top right corner of the 9 box, then it gets that elitist treatment. Otherwise, a lot of it is still, remedial.
It's also a question of budgets, because when they say we are giving the top performers, because they know the coach costs so much, so that it also has a function to play.
Yeah, I'm thinking the conclave did not touch upon costs at all, about organizations feeling that it is very expensive. Interesting.
Sometimes we should let sleeping dogs lie.
Shanti, another thing that was there in this was that trust is the new currency.
Yeah. Trust is the new currency. A suggestion was made, coaches should do, and coaches should make, that coachees do reflect and write in their diary journal. Do I have, and have is an acronym. H stands for, am I humble, okay with not knowing and ready to learn. A is, am I adaptable and agile. V is, do I have a vision. And E is, do I engage with my customer and stakeholder regularly. So do I have it is, that was a lovely acronym that I got hold on to. One of the roles that the coach does is help leaders move away from managing an organization in the head versus managing the organization in reality, because these are very two different, distinct things. Yeah. Anything else on the panel discussion? Anybody captured? Anybody noted?
Shanti, Anuba, in the beginning of the discussion, she asked us to draw anything that comes to our mind, and most of us had drawn this two mountains, sunrise.
Yeah,
so what was that she was trying to tell?
Yeah. So she was saying, draw a scenery in 10 seconds, and all of two mountains, one sun, and a river flowing through the mountain. All of her diagrams, of course, look very similar. That is the psychological conditioning, the conditioning of, the moment we say a scenery in 10 seconds, that's what we've been taught as a small child, and it comes to us so naturally. She referred to that in the context of how leaders believe what they know is the truth, is the only truth, and how we have to rewire, recondition ourselves to know that scenery could mean so many other things. It does not need to have two mountains, sun in between those two mountains, one tree, one river, one hut. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, glad you remembered that.
Yeah, I remembered, but I was not able to connect to the thing. Now I understand.
Yeah. Moving on. Next one was Jeffrey Hull. Leveraging the secret sauce for success in today's leader. That was his topic. Anybody captured stuff from his session? So his view was coaching craft is picking up more importance, and the coaching niche is becoming less important. Agility being a life skill was another theme. He spoke about the coactive leadership model, wherein the leader needs to be purpose-led, visionary, collaborative, intuitive, and a servant leader. He spoke about the 6 adaptive shifts towards leadership agility. Emotional, intense. Oh, he had a nice acronym, FIERCE, FIERCE. Flexible. How do I go read about? Flexible, intentional, emotional, real, collaborative, and engaged. I have a screen capture. If you'd like, I'll put it on our group. It's a lovely disc in which he talks about how a leader needs to be adaptive in all of these fields.
Can you just repeat that again?
Yeah.
Flexible, intentional, emotional,
real, collaborative, and engaged.
Thank you.
And then he dived deep into each of these. What does flexibility mean? What does intentional mean? And each of those he did a deep dive. Looking at anything. Yeah, that was the key. Flexible means direct and inquisitive. Intentional means evidence-based and inspirational. Emotional means grounded and expressive. Real means competent and vulnerable. Collaborative means curious and empowering. Engaged means structured and fluid. There is something after that I've tried to write, but I can't read my writing. Anybody has captured what that was? I've realized I'm too bad at writing it now. So I can't write.
Okay, so are you asking about this leader agility framework?
Fierce was a part of the same thing.
Yeah. I have a snapshot of that. And I have 6 snapshots for 6 adaptive shifts towards leadership agility.
That would be useful for this audience. If you can in our WhatsApp group, those screenshots, I think that will be really helpful.
Okay, sure. And I even have the screenshot of where he talks about network as a new pyramid. So that was explaining very clearly how the network can be viewed as a pyramid also.
Can you talk through that? I'm completely blanking.
Yeah. So he is trying to basically relate the network to a pyramid, where the pyramid will have 6 faces. So 1 second. Let me see if I can share that in this group now.
1 second. I think I might have to give you sharing rights. Multiple people share or something I'll have to do. Share. Yeah, now you should be able to share, Akila.
Okay, sure. Yeah, just give me a minute. Okay, just give me a minute. Once I will share right now.
Shanti, while Akila is trying to share, can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Just purely from an attendee perspective, how that file distribution? I mean, what was the percentage of coaches? What was the percentage of other folks, corporate or whatever else? Who were the people that were attending the conclave? Just at a high level, did we have something of that kind?
Yeah, my observation was predominantly it was coaches. L&D folks, because their leaders were there on the dais, so their teams would come during the panel session and they would walk out with the leader.
Got it.
We did have people from ISTD and NHRD who were also the sponsors of the event. We had 20-25 people from both these organizations. They were also part of various panels, and also I think that was also part of it. Yeah. Okay. Akila, is it possible for you to rotate it?
Yeah. 1 second. So I was not able to find a snapshot, but I have taken the pic from my notes. Yeah, I think we can do now.
In the interest of time, Akila, may I continue and as and when?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had P.V. Ramana Murthy, who spoke about developing humble high achievers through coaching. Anybody wants to summarize his session?
So he had spoke about the Apple framework, how humble leaders think. So wherein A stands for appreciate mindset, P stands for positive possibilities, the second P stands for path showing, L stands for lightheartedness, and E stands for evolutionary frame of mind.
So that was an acronym he created for how this thing, and for how they behave. He didn't have an acronym, but did talk about they intensify high impact discussions, willingness to learn and trust. There was mindful excellence, ahead of one's times, gratitude, and emotional connect. Those were behaviors, and then there were the framework itself. Primarily, he was talking about the summary of his book. It was a promotion of the book, and people could get his book signed right outside. And right after his session, we had our own Jagdish talking about his book and some aspects from his book. Anybody wants to summarize Jagdish's session? So my key takeaways were coaches need to have fun in the process, challenge the norms set aside for coaches. Both coaches and corporates need to nurture each other, not lead each other. I think that was a very powerful statement. Towards the end, he said, if there is one key takeaway, please go back and hike your fees. And I said, yes, sure, will do. Of course, he was talking about release the hostage and, what keeps his book, Release the Hostage, and what keeps people held back in terms of trying to put themselves out there and putting out their I had to leave after Jagdish's session, though we did have Stephen Weiss present. Was Jagdish's session the last session for the day? Yeah, okay, on day 2, I left early. Okay. So then is actually day 2. Stephen Weiss's session. It was also an ICF Global update. Anybody wants to talk about that?
I can try, you can add.
Sure.
A couple of key points that I noted. One, the credential program of ICF is the crown jewel of ICF. They also spoke about membership benefits. What was it this session?
He started, but Pat also had lots of
Pat
other.
also covered, yeah, correct. So, of course, the membership benefits came up on the day 1 also when Magdas touched upon, even on this, things which are familiar to us. What is coming next? I thought there is some interesting stuff there, saying that ICF is working on some kind of a virtual community. From what I understood, it's something like a LinkedIn that coaches will have. They've already done that for ICF trainers, so I'm sure they're going to enlarge the scope. They're planning to do a value proposition study, maybe to back up the research projects. Lifelong customer planning, that's something that they're looking at. And also chapter support evolution. This is some of the areas that they're working on. More specific to India, with something that for our interest, they have more regional commitment now, something that we touched upon at the beginning of the session. The PC board meeting that Shanti referred. New Delhi, something they spoke about the tour. And I don't know if there's something that is planned next year also, no, Shanti? I think that something came up, yeah. Anyway, ICF in India also, they said what we heard, very interesting. they really heard well. They said coaching is confused with tutoring and mentoring, something that people are aware of. Right? Voice of coaching, the importance of commitment, how it is relevant in the Indian context, and opportunity is real. Yeah. To that, I added with my 2 cents, if we deliver value. Yeah. Then ICF Next in India. This again is very important for all of us practicing coaches. They're looking at messaging to the corporate sector. You'll see a big ramp up. They're going to target corporates big time in India. The team has already 3 dedicated members for India. We're looking at more partnerships. And also, we are on the road to become 100,000 members. We are at 60,000 now. Globally, we are looking at 100,000. And a statement, this was the takeaway, something that I put it in my social media. We are about to become what we always dreamed of becoming. So as a collective community coming from the global leadership, to repeat, we are about to become what we dreamt of becoming. Yeah, and of course, there is also passing reference to ICWA that is happening from May 8th to 14th.
8th to 14th. And while we are on that topic, we will send out the schedule again, like last year. Every chapter has a day. Bangalore chapter is May 8th, and would love to hear from all of you in terms of what would you like to hear during the International Coaching Week sessions. It will be purely virtual. We will start slightly earlier than the regular learning session so that we can cover lots more ground. And yeah, we will have those discussions around what is it that you would love to hear and who would you like to hear in the International Coaching Week. Okay. Then was Hasten Moon's session. She was mesmerizing, if I have to say. Any what is it that people would like to add? And then I'll pitch in.
I mean, she was one of the best. I wouldn't even try to summarize. Yeah, she was too good. The best session, I guess. Yeah.
Very true.
I think Raka had a key line on this. Raka, you want to mention that? Sorry, I just put you in a spot there.
No, that's okay. So what she said was conversations can change the world, which we all truly agree. And at the end, what she had said that it's, 1 second. Yeah, in coaching, the clients normally narrate their stories. We need to make them curate their stories to be able to heal themselves. So from narration, we need to, from narrative stories, we need to move the coaches to be more curative.
Yeah, and to talk about this, she spoke about a quadrant. So if on the y-axis, we have want more on the top, the positive y-axis, and want less on the negative y-axis, and future on the right x-axis, and past. So the want more in past will be a resourceful past. What is it that I can use from my past that is going to help me and be beneficial in my today? Want less from my past, that quadrant will be my troubled past. I don't want to be there. And unfortunately, a lot of our coaching questions actually sit in that space, that a space that coaches don't want to revisit a lot. Dreaded future is want less in future. That's again a space that coaches are not willing to go, not wanting to go. Want more in future is the preferred future. So our idea should be to help them move towards the preferred future. So that Kuti quadrant for the structured me really helped. Yeah, then there was this coaching panel discussion too. Again, coaching in organizations. Again, this was also a wonderful panel discussion, and I've missed 1 second. I'll read out the Dr. Pradnya Prashar, founder, CEO of Three Fish Consulting. She was the moderator. She was not there. She had somebody else in her place take her place. Deep Gupta, EVP HR, Jubilant Foodworks. Ima Catherine, Senior Associate Director, HR, RTI International India. Priya Malhotra, Group Head, Talent Development and Business Capability Building, CK Birla Group. And Radha Ganesh Ram, and I don't have the full details of her. Just have two pieces of notes. Coachee holds accountability for the progress. Remember that you as a coach don't hold accountability for the coachee's progress. The coach holds accountability for the process. I think that those two statements really reminded me of what my role as a coach is. Anybody else wants to add any of the key takeaway from that panel discussion?
So there was some discussion around psychometrics, and there was that psychometrics brings about objectivity. That was one. That's all.
Then it was Dr. R.S. Dabas, International Corporate Trainer, Transformation Coach Founder, CIOE India. I don't know how to pronounce that, but yeah. His topic was organizational transformation. I think it was good, but very generic in terms of that it has to be for organizations to transform. Coaching plays an important role, and it has to be part of every layer in the organization. And the fact that there is huge opportunity in that space. Then is PAC session, which is all the benefits of ICF membership. And I'll read out everything that I have taken note. Please pitch in. I'm also trying to see if PAC had a very short session, about 20 minutes in the conclave. I'm seeing if we can get her for one of the learning sessions to do an extensive, 1 hour session where we can ask her questions. Because the benefits were named, I still don't know how to reach that benefit on the ICF portal. Firstly, you can list yourself as a mentor or a coach and get your clients. You can fix your rates onto that mentor or coach listing, and helps you, go through that whole process of negotiation and comparison and all of that. You get credential discounts if you're a member. There is something called as a coach finder that people use to find ICF credentialed coaches with rates, so that is beneficial. Reduced conference fee, any kind of conference that is where ICF has a part to play, the members have a discounted rate. Reduced fees for ICF Business Development Series. It is a learning series for business development offered by ICF Global. Free registration for the Coach Finder. COP memberships are free. Chapter webinars are free. There is a whole lot of archived learnings, and this is specifically for people who are looking for CCUs. You can go to the archives, take those sessions. There is a small quiz that ends after the session. You just take that. It's a one single question after each session. Once you do that, you earn your CCU. So if you're looking for CCUs and are a member of ICF Global, that's a huge thing that you can benefit from. There is an ICF member website that lists all of these benefits. ICF Events has calendars, articles, podcasts. There is a book library and archived events. I still haven't figured out on the page where it is, but yeah. There are lots of speaker opportunities, and PAC did indicate that, the number of people representing in the global boards or global COP leadership from India are very less. So that is an opportunity. And even to speak on behalf of ICF, start putting up your hand, reaching out to people, enough is available. There is a research portal, business solution partners. So Hogan and all DISC and all of these tools, resources that are beneficial for coaches. ICF offers a discount. If you're a member, you get a member letter every month that lists the discounts available in that particular month. And of course, you're part of ICF chapters. Did I miss anything?
What I want to highlight is, you already mentioned that we all can have a web page on ICF portal. So if you are a member and you're not populated that particular page, I think that's a big opportunity waiting to be tapped. You should do that. I've done that with some help. It's very simple. And my profile is live on IC website. Something that we should all do. Yeah.
Can you share a link, Subhash? My bad, I haven't gone in and researched. I've just noted down all of this. But
in the anticipation of that question, I just opened that. This is how it can look like. It's pretty self-contained. I took help from somebody, so this is the entire page. Yeah, contact, resources. There's a lot here. So all of you would have got emails from ICF saying that this particular service has gone live. So anyway, I'll share this. You'd have to figure out on your own website. Yeah.
Yeah. Any questions on PACS section?
Yeah, I agree. Thanks for asking that, because I think this is the crux of it. A lot of services we are not aware.
We're not aware.
Yeah. And ICF is not the most user-friendly website also. So to that extent, I just tried to locate the service on the website incognito. I couldn't find it, where we can put up. Then I opened my link.
Very true. Very true. Then we had Jeffrey, Magda, and we could not have Vaisun join us. So it was predominantly Jeffrey and Magda talking about future of coaching. AI will impact, but I think the message is we need to learn to live with AI. Can AI be the first level of coaching questions, ground setting, and then humans actually take over from there? That was one idea that was floated. AI can help a lot with coach training and practice. Coaches may have to build a portfolio of coaching skills, not team coaching, group coaching, leadership life. So that was one space where she said, people coaches shouldn't restrict themselves to just one kind of niche, but rather have a portfolio. Any small business has difficulty in the first 3 years. It only thrives after 5 years. So if you are in those 3 years, don't quit so soon. I took that message for myself. So in bold. Anything else?
Somebody touched upon democratization of coaching, which there's some discussion around it. We also touched upon it, how it can help leaders at the lower levels. Coaching culture is the ultimate goal. That's something that came up. I thought initially the conversation got hijacked by artificial intelligence, but the panel brought it back quickly. Then commoditization versus democratization also they touched upon. So while niche and other elements are important, we need to be mindful of we don't fall prey into that commoditization of coaching. Aggregator. I think there is a question on aggregator, and so the terminology that was used was they called themselves curators and consolidators. But they didn't go deep into that topic because that's not something that they could comment on. But we have to be mindful of how the aggregators are enabling the evolution of coaching in some way or the other. And also somebody touched upon the coaching. I think it was a question, or Jonathan made a comment on how coaching can impact environment.
Wow.
Because the climate change is something that ICF is looking at through their members.
And at this point, I had to get up and leave the conclave. I had a family emergency to attend, so I left. Would any one of you, Raka, Subhash, Anand, anybody who's been there for the next panel discussion, can coaching be an effective vehicle for organizational transformation? Any updates, anything that you can share from that one?
There was some discussion on the systemic barriers to coaching. But, within the friend circle, I can say that it was not something very deep, that particular panel. Actually, somebody mentioned quoting again a Pricewaterhouse study saying that 70% of transformation fail And one of the members from our Bangalore chapter got up and challenged that, saying that, how can a butterfly become a caterpillar? So was the transformation real in the first place? Yeah. So, maybe it was not a transformation ab initio, somebody from our community, which many of us resonated. Otherwise, coaching is a mindset, not a process. That is something that was covered there. Another very important point, I think Anant made that initially. Practice of coaching has moved much faster than the research on coaching. So I think, whether it is in the context of ROI or generic research, and with my limited choti mo badi baat, I've seen that we don't really look into that element of measuring success, right? So those are some of the things that were highlighted by the panel. Yeah, those are 3-4 points I made note of, but otherwise it was slightly shallow, that one.
Thanks.
I'll add my comments to what Subhash. I'll just follow up on what Subhash said. As coaches in India and umpires, we actually get a lot into the being part of it, the be and the being, and we also are conservative, shy about marketing it. And that's a feeling I got when I looked at all those. And to use a slang term, but it's actually charane ka murgi, barane ka masala. So we don't add the masala. We want that 95 paise ka murgi and 5 paise ka masala. That's something we may want to learn, because that's also a learning. I sort of thought that probably we need to do this. Point one. Point two, also the research part of it. So much of experience. Can we collate it into something that we can use as collateral, as whatever? So these were some of the thoughts that came out. And after that, I got involved in a lot of other things. But then I have some specific ideas around how we can do that for the larger coaching community within the country.
Lovely. Noted. Anyone else? Okay, then the last topic, Prachi Garg, technology leader at Adobe, inspiring leadership.
I was not there.
It's starting to get late. Yeah, with that, we do actually wrap up, unless Raka or Anant has anything else to add on Prachi's session.
On Prachi, it was a good session, but though I don't recall a lot of it. But then she talked about it from the millennial standpoint, which was good, because if you look at her youth and all of it, and how the Adobe has used coding and how they have like coaching, and talked a book also. But to color jet out of it, I don't know. I don't recall, because I forgot my notes in office today. But then, to me, overall, when I looked at all of the book sessions and all, a pretty well conducted conclave, pretty neatly done. One learning I have is, and here I would give kudos to all the Bangalore people who are on this call, who conducted the conference 4 years back at Christ College. They did a far fabulous job. And I'm not debating that this was not great, but our conference was greater.
Yay. Yay.
And I'll tell you why. Because we had multiple sessions going on at the same time, if I remember. So you could look at which session to attend. Second thing, at the end of every session, you walk out of the room with your CCU, whatever that card was there. Thirdly, it was tightly managed from a time standpoint. And unfortunately, I come from the discipline of the Gallup Strength Finder. To me, time is of, and it's important that we manage time. It was beautifully done, yes, all heart. But when you do a conference of this, there has to be some professionalism as far as time was concerned, which to me was the not the greatest of it, but the overall content, the getting the some of the authors, getting some of the leaders did a very good job. It was very well done.
Totally agree. Yeah, time, I have to agree that, could have been managed better. And I found hard to breathe from moving from one section to the other. Even if I want to take a bio break, I could not get a book, and next speaker is already there on the stage.
Correct. Exactly, and we find it so ill-mannered if we do that, walking out of the room when someone has taken the pains to come and address us, and they would have prepared for it. So that's why I was very upset at it.
True. With that, we do wrap up the conclave summary. Any thoughts, anything that people have to share about all the sharing that happened?
Okay, before they share, I'll also give you one more insight. So, people who attended the conclave, I talked to Badri, who is the ICF Delhi president. So, he is expected to get 12 CCUs.
12 CCUs. Good.
Yeah, but then they have still not released it. So, I do not know.
Working on it is what message even I had. So, yeah, we'll wait and hopefully something will come through soon.
But it was it was painstaking efforts putting together all of them on board and all of it. It was superbly done. But Bangalore RCB or RCB may never win, but the Bangalore chapter of ICF definitely wins.
Enough. Good.
Yes, guys.
Anuj had raised a hand. Yeah.
I just wanted to say a big thank you to you guys for putting this together. I wasn't there at the conclave, and it's just a huge round of applause to you guys to pull out the nuggets and present it in a very concise manner. It's like we are hearing almost like the essence of the 2 days in just about an hour or so. So thank you for being so kind to pull it together and to share it. Really appreciate it.
Welcome, Anand.
Just want to echo what Anuj said.
Thank you.
Couldn't have said it any better. Thank you so very much for investing your time and sharing all these nuggets with us.
Yeah, and the nuggets don't stop. We have an action-packed April. Those of you who are part of Racial COP, the team and group coaching, there's a session tomorrow. Lots of other events planned. I'm going to put in the text chat the next 2 learning events. They're back-to-back. I'm hoping it came through.
Gunjan had raised the hand.
Yes, Gunjan, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you, Shanti, and thank you everybody who shared all the the wisdom from the conclave. I really wanted to go for this conclave, but I had just undergone a surgery, so my voice is still a bit hoarse. But I've noted down so many things. There's like 7 to 8 pages that I noted down of what you all said, and I remember maybe years ago, I don't remember when did I read that Magda had written on LinkedIn that in few years coaching will become like going to a hairdresser. That statement I still remember. So it's going to be so common, and I can hear that with the that tone really shouts out with everything that you discussed today. So a lot of insights I've taken that and the literature thing, which it's just kind of it's phenomenal to see how that really resonates. I've been doing a little bit of study there as well, so it really resonates with what there is coaching in literature. So lovely. Thank you so much to all of you, for sharing all the wisdom.
Our pleasure. Our pleasure. Yeah, so I've just put out the 2 sessions for 10th and 17th. There will be a longish break after 17th until our International Coaching Week day on 8th. But we've got 2 amazing sessions lined up. So do register. And I look forward to seeing you in those sessions again next week and yet again the week after. Yeah. Thank you, people. Have a great
Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much.
Okay.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Anant Narayanan.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Awesome.
In fact, I am inspired by you because the amount of work you put now, that's why I've got very serious about attending these meetings and trying to share. Thanks a lot for being my inspiration.
Made my evening, Anant.
Yes, I'm serious about it because you really put Winston, when he attends this conference and gives his nuggets, Sushma, Jayashree, all of you all put your heart and soul into it. So it's small thing I need to do, like the squirrel did in the Ramayana.
Oh, you did a phenomenal part of weightlifting today. So it wasn't a squirrel thing, it was a meaty thing. So thank you.
Thank you.
He's
Thank you.
put icing on the cake. He's put
Mm.
icing on the cake.
Ah, attention.
Thank you. And I was amazed that our latest and youngest entrant, Akila, she was curious, creative, exactly what our coaches need to become. And she was also very confident. She landed in Delhi. She didn't know which room she's going to stay. She said, I will use the resources on the way. Good work, Akila.
Yeah, thank you so much, Anand. Thank you so much for your help also.
So wonderful.
Good. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. Have a great evening.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.
Bye.